Morning, boys and girls. Well, as you can look at the river here today, that's blowing 30-40 mile an hour southerly, and that'll be awful on the beach, so I thought I'd come in the river again. I'm not as far up towards the harbour's mouth as what I was the other day. I don't know if you can see in the distance there. Just about there in the distance, that's them red and white bollards, what the opposite side of the river where I was before, but I'll come a little bit further up the river. That'll look alright though. A few railings here, that'll do the job. I can fish over here, no problem. A few big boats and vessels here, but nothing too bad. And I can fish right at the back of the van. What's a bonus? Because 30-40 mile an hour winds, you want to be sheltered, don't you? Well, now get the gear out and get set up. Well, as you can see, I got the uptide again today. I'm being greedy with 4 rods again. I haven't actually used the uptiders in my boat yet. But there you go, that's life. Well, these little Shakespeare Omni uptiders are 25 quid each delivered. They're ideal for this sort of thing. They're nice and short, and if they fall over on the quay and scratch on the concrete or the metal poles, that ain't the end of the world. That'd break your heart if it was a decent rod, wouldn't it? But there you go. Well, I'm fishing here today. I've got 3 2-hook flappers and 1 3-hook flapper. Basic, real simple rigs, perfect for the river for scratching. There's been hardly anything caught lately on the beaches. A few little dabs, a few little whitens, and that's I ain't expecting much. So little scratching rigs like this are ideal. Well, bait wise is pretty basic. I got some salted prawns, a frozen mackerel, a frozen herring, and some squid. Perfect scratching baits. There's no point in buying lug just to scratch around for a few little whitens, because that's all we're really likely to get today. Fishing's been really poor lately here. Like one of the other YouTube guys fished Yarmouth Pier the other day and Lowestoft Pier and that sort of thing, and they got like 1 or 2 fish. Well, that's deplorable, isn't it? To be honest, I'd rather go on the beach, because they've been getting a few dabs on the beach, but in 30 to 40 mile winds that'd be uncomfortable. But sitting in the back of the old van here, that's ideal. I'm out of the rain and out of the wind. Well, tide wise, I'm fishing the ebb. As you can see, the rods are going to the right. I ain't cast out far, only about 10-15 yards out. There's loads of tide in the river, even though it's easy tide. It's about 2.48 metre tide today. Well, the high water was 2 hours ago, so I'm fishing the ebb, see how that get on. Well, this is only the second time I ever fished the river. Obviously, a few weeks ago I fished further up. But when it comes to these gale, 30-40 mile an hour southerly winds straight along the beach, and a bit of rain and stuff, fishing the river is ideal. It's a lot safer, and you've got no big waves coming up the beach and wind threatening to blow your beach buddy away and everything. That's just lovely sitting in the back of the van, out of the wind, out of the cold, everything to hand. That's brilliant. Make fishing really, really easy. That'll be interesting to see what I get today, because last time I was here, or further up the river, the first cast was a rockland, and they're always a kiss of death, aren't they? And then I'd have another fish a couple of hours later, like a little old whiting. Be interesting to see what you get today, if you get anything. Fingers crossed we get a few whitings and bits and pieces, but you don't know till you try. You don't catch nothing said to them, and I don't even see in the distance. That's actually hossing down my rain. That's the old Yarmouth gas powered station over there. Bit of a miserable old day. Normally that's you can see a bit of the old steam coming out the top of it, but you can't see nothing today. Bit of a miserable old day, raining hard. I'm glad to be sitting in the van and not on the beach, to be honest. Well, I'm now going to reel the first rod in for the first time and see how we get on. That's bending quite a bit. I've got a nasty feeling there could be a lot of weed on it. Or a couple of crabs tangled up on the hook. Snud. We'll see. There's a bit of weed there. There's a little bit of weed, but you see there, but not a lot. But the top and the middle hook baits isn't touched. The bottom one's gone with squid. I suspect that's probably crabs. But there doesn't seem to be a lot there, do there? Well, the second rod is bending quite a bit, and I suspect that's the same. Little bit of weed, and it's caught in a strong tide. But I'll reel it in just to check. Yeah, pretty much the same as the first. A little bit of weed, and the hook baits, unless it's the bottom one, haven't been touched, so I gather it's just crabs plucking away. Call that tide do run hard in this river. Doesn't matter where you seem to cast, that's any soft old mud and silt. So wherever you cast, I always seem to pull it right round. So you might as well just cast a couple of rod lengths out, because all it do is pull it in the direction of the tide and pull it down tide. So yeah, rod length for 2 out, that's ample really. Obviously the more you could probably hold bottom if you let out a lot of line and a big bow in the line, but if you do that, that's going to fill up with weed in here. Decent bit of a weed pit. That's part and parcel of rivers really, isn't it? They all seem to be full of weed. Well, I'm sure if there's any fish on it, they'll be rattling like hell this short bit of line, but I better reel in the other rod, see what's happening on that too. Look at that. Look at that bait. That's untouched, isn't it? Same as that one. Totally untouched. I ain't even bother rebaiting it. That's like new, innit? Just a little tiny bit of weed, but the bait is like new. I don't think there's going to be a lot there today, boys and girls, do you? Well, I just reeled in the last one. That was a bit different. Look. Bare hooks, top and bottom. Obviously crabs or something's been feeding off it, but there weren't no fish. But it's nice to see the bait gone. That's a sad, sorry state of affairs. Glad to see the bait gone, innit? Well, we'll bait up and get that back out again. Well, there wasn't a lot of boat activity today. Last time I was here, there was pilot boats and wind cats and supply vessels going up and down here all day, but there's been nothing because it's blowing a hoolie. All the boats are staying in the harbour tied up, keeping out of it. What I don't blame them. There's 8-10 foot of swell out to sea today. So even that boat there, that's jacked up out of it. So just put the legs on the bottom and jack the boat out of it so it's not rocking and keeping perfectly still. Can't blame them for that. But yeah, it's very quiet down the river. And even got the MMO going in and out. Well, it ain't looking good, boys and girls. I've been here over an hour and I ain't seen a bite yet. I know they've been scratching a few dabs on the beaches. Well, I think most of them whiting, they're up in the water chasing sprats. I think it's leaving a few little scraggler whiting on the beach, but not a lot. And they're getting a few dabs. But I think it'll be very nice fishing down the beach today, is it? But there ain't a hell of a lot in this river. Oh, what am I doing? Must be mad, mustn't I? Well, I reeled in again. Same old story. Bit of weed on the top of the trace. Top hook had been touched, and bottom hook been stripped by crabs. Well, yeah, that is what it is. I might try a prawn on the bottom, something a bit different. Obviously, maybe not mackerel is their thing, but there is a few prawns living around here, so match and hatch with the catch and all that lot. Well, I'll bait up and get that back out. Well, standing here, you can see there old Nelson's column. That was basically directly behind me when I was fishing on the Safe Beach the other week. So I ain't too far away from Safe Beach. Just obviously the new harbour, the outer harbour, is just to the east of me. Then a little spit of land and then the river. It definitely is blowing a hoolie today. There's some good waves in the sea. I mean, good waves in the river. I'm glad I'm fishing here. Just showing I want a few more fish. It was a bit quiet to say the least. Well, the last couple of goes I've tried in the river, I've got to admit they haven't been very productive. The only reason I'm here is it's blowing a hoolie and that's a nice, comfortable and safe fishing. Not like on the beach, that'd be horrendous at the minute. So I don't know why people fish the river on nice calm days. I just don't get it. Whether they like easy fishing, I don't know, but that ain't ever seem to be very productive in the river. I think they get a few bass in the summer, that's pretty good, the bass fishing I believe. But in the winter the fishing's a bit poor. I think they get a few good catches of whitings before Christmas. But as soon as Christmas get here and the whitings thin out and the sprats get here, I think after Christmas that's pretty poor really. Well, I just reeled in again. Top bait didn't touch that much, but I got hefted up. And when I'm fishing in places like the river or snaggy, I use just really cheap, nasty Aberdeens, and that's why. Because when you get hefted up, you can pull the hooks out. You don't lose gear. You just open the hook a little bit, and you can live with that. To be honest, that'll hold any fish you're going to catch around here, really. But that is one perk of using cheap Aberdeens. You'll pull out of the heft rather than lose your gear. Well, I haven't been that much bait robbing, but we just found a crab was caught up. You see underneath, that's all the eggs. All them eggs, so obviously you can stay on there for a while until they hatch off. But yeah, that's why a little bit of bait's been moved off the bottom hook. That's them crabs. Well, I just tried something a little bit different. I just stuck one of them rods about a third of the way across the river. I ain't got to worry about boat traffic today because there isn't any. In a gale like this, no one's going out to sea. So I whacked out a little bit further. Hopefully won't get too much weed. That hasn't been that bad so far. And we'll see if there's anything else there. We need to winkle at a fish or two. That's horrible blanking, isn't it? Even a rock on the first cast last time was pressure off, but not today. Well, I just reeled in the rod what I cast a third of the way across the river, and we can all guess that one, can't we? Weed fest. That is what it is, though, isn't it? You can't do nothing about it. Might as well just fish close to the bank, because if not, you go any distance, that tide run through there, and it's got a lot of weed in it, and you get tons of weed on your line. So I've gone back to fishing close again. That was worth a go, though, wasn't it? I only think I've gone and got a bloody bite. Let's have a look at this one. That might not be a bite. There's been a lot of weed at the gear. Weed. Alright, nothing. I thought we had a bite then, that was plucking. That could have been the weed hitting the line. Ayo. Kidding myself. God, that's the only boat I've seen all day go at the harbour. They must be brave. But that's one of them big old aluminium cats. They are a beast of a boat. Being a cat, they're a lot more stable and they'll handle anything, they will. That's a lovely looking thing. Well, it appears I'm only feeding one thing. That's what I'm feeding, crabs. And if you noticed, that's got eggs on it too. So all I'm doing is feeding crabs. I haven't seen a single fish in a couple of hours. That is really desperate times, isn't it? Well, it's now half an hour from low water. The only positive thing I've seen so far is the sun's just come out. Look bloody lovely now. But there's been no fish, just tons and tons of weed. That's been awful. So January is the worst time of the year fishing around here on rods on the beach. But there you go. Can't do nothing about it, can you? Well, now's the sunlight is out. That's lovely, just sitting here fishing, watching the tips bob around. Shame there ain't no fish though. It's been a very, very bleak day, innit? Very, very disappointing. Well, that's now slack water. The crabs picked up and just stripping the baits in no time. And obviously still tons of weed. So I'm now going to do something really stupid. Instead of packing up and going home and having a cup of tea or maybe having a pint down a pub, I'm going to do something really stupid. I'm going to go somewhere else. Somewhere else was going to be really probably rubbish, but I can't give in this easily. See you in a minute, boys and girls. Well, I said I was going to do something stupid, and I have. I'll now come down the River Bure at Yarmouth. I know at the minute that's slack water, or still ebbing here slightly. That's to be pure fresh water here. But I am here on the off chance of possibly being a flounder or two. There used to be loads of flounders years ago, but they probably ain't now. But I didn't have many choices. I ain't got a tripod with me, so it's either fish a pier, fish the river. I couldn't be bothered to drive to Yarmouth pier or Lowestoft pier, so I thought on the way back I'll slip into Yarmouth River down Tarworks Road and see if I can winkle out something. I probably won't get nothing. That's just desperate times. None of that is a way home, so I thought I'd slip in here for an hour. Madness. Well, I did fish here once in the summer for bass, even though you're really a spinning gear, but this is ideal on the way home. Well, this time of year you didn't get no boats coming past, so I'm fishing 2 rods a third of the way, another 2 rods about halfway across. But there's still a lot of tide here, but on the ebb tide I think this is virtually fresh water. But hopefully I'm going to get a flounder. That's hoping a lot. I don't think that's going to happen, but you got to be in it to win it, ain't you? That's just a nice way to spend an hour on the way home after planking. Oh, one of the rod tips are rattling. I bet it's a crab. Or should I say was a crab. There ain't nothing on it now. Bugger, got all excited. Well, story of my life in it today, crabs. No fish, all crabs. Bloody typical. Well, them rod tips are rattling like hell, so I gather there's a lot of crabs here. But I suppose you got to expect that in the river, though, ain't you? Well, it isn't the day of the most productive fishing in the world, but that's a day of lazy, comfortable fishing. Fishing in the rivers, easy, lazy, especially when it's blowing a hoolie like it has been. That's just easy fishing, innit? I didn't want to sit on the beach getting windswept and grip blasted with the sand, so I thought I'd just do this. Alright, I ain't caught nothing so far apart from crabs, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's nice to have a change and do something a bit different. That's been quite enjoyable, really. Would be nice to see a fish though. I know it's a bit early, or too early for flounders in the rivers. Used to get a lot of flounders here 30, 40 years ago. You don't really get many now. Not that I know really, because no one really fish it, but I'm assuming you don't really get them anymore. I think all the flounder fry have all been eaten by the bass, so flounders have plummeted in numbers in the last few years. I think that's half the problem, because all these rivers and estuaries are full of bass fry in the summer. They've got to eat something, and flounder fry are an easy target, isn't they? I think that's why the flounders are diminished so much. But yeah, I'm just sit here, have a coffee, sit here for another hour and see how it go, really. I don't think it's my day today. The wind's now swung around a bit, and that's instead of blowing southerly, that's blowing southeasterly, so now I'm getting a bit moist, because now it's started peeing down the rain. So much for parking the van nice and dry. But there you go, we've got to stop soon, it is starting to pee it down, and I'm getting a bit damp. Luckily I've got my old gear with me, so it ain't too bad. But all I'm getting is the rod tips just rattling all the time. That's just crabs in it. Tons and tons of crabs. They like a good feed. Well, the rain stopped, that's a bonus. Might have to have a little reel in. No surprises there, is there? Crabby tastics. Millions of the blinking things. That is, rod tips are constantly knocking. That's all got to be down to these, isn't it? Well, if you look in the river, when I first got here, that was bubbling and boiling up, and that's slowing down like hell now. That's 3 o'clock, so low water's 2 o'clock at Yarmouth Harbour, and this is an extra hour later because it's obviously inland a few miles. But that's easing down. It's now about 10 past 3, but then again, the low water might keep going a little bit longer because when it's got 30-40 mile an hour winds pushing it across the North Sea, that can make the tide go a little bit longer. Obviously the wind can influence the tide, sort of thing. Well, that's probably all fresh water in here now. You can see all the mud. That's about low water now, so hopefully in a little while I'll start pushing back. Not that I really think I'm going to get anything, but you got to be in it to win it, and sometimes it's nice to come down here because I fished a lot when I was down here as a kid. Bit of nostalgia. But, you know, gale of a day, your options are limited in it. So I'd done what I thought best at the time. Hadn't really paid off, but I'm fishing, that's been comfortable, and I've been safe. That's the main thing. Well, one of the rods has gone mad. One of it's a big crab or something else. There's either a crab or something at the line. Must have been a crab, but that was going mad. Well, there must have been several crabs, or crab tangled up in the hook snud, and was getting whipped around in the tide, but the tip was bouncing around like hell. Hey-oh. I got all bloody excited then. I thought that was a fish. I don't know what it was, but there was something rattling like hell. And that was rattling a lot more than a normal crab. Maybe a crab got hooked in the snud and caught in the tide and was flapping around, I don't know. That was certainly a good consistent bite. Now it's started raining again. Lovely. Well, it isn't looking very good. It's been raining like hell for the last half hour. I'm pretty moist now. I don't think I'm going to get anything, so I think it's time I called it a day, didn't you? I tried hard. It weren't to be. But then again, when it's a gale of wind, that limits your options, doesn't it? But I got out, had a few hours fishing, quite enjoyable. Didn't get nothing, apart from a few crabs. But there you go, that's life, innit? Well, I've stopped raining for at least 5 minutes, so I now packed everything away. I'll give it a go. It's been crappy conditions, loads of wind and everything. So you got to be in it to win it, ain't you? You got to try. Alright, it's been unproductive. I didn't think I'd get a lot. I think I'd have sneaked out a few dabs if it was on the beach, but the beach has been horrendous today in the swell. So I done what I thought best in the circumstances. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Show them a bit more fish. The East Coast is really fishing pup at the minute. But there you go. Okay then. Hope you enjoyed it and found it entertaining. Catch you later.